Hey folks, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Saurabh Pol. Welcome to Pol Ke Bol. Today I'm going to talk about why Indian cities are never likely to improve. So I live in Mumbai, and as most of you know, Mumbai is not exactly the world's most planned city, right? But it is also one of the most powerful cities in the world, definitely one of the most powerful cities in India, one of the most richest cities in India, and of course, one of the most important cities in India. Let's put it that way, right? But despite that, Mumbai sometimes feels like a pathetic city, just absolutely horrible. Like if you talk to people, who live probably say Surat, Ahmedabad, talk to people who live in Vizag, even Bhubaneswar, Ghaziabad, Pune definitely because they wake up in the morning to hate on Mumbai. And any tier two city, right? Like even Nasik, Nagpur, these cities, Mysore for that matter, people who live in these cities, they're like, boss, if I have to move out of my town and move out of the place I was born in or I'm currently in, I'll definitely try a Bangalore or a Hyderabad, even a Gurgaon for that matter, but definitely not Mumbai. Now you have to ask yourself, why is this the case, at least with young people, right? And simply speaking, I think even Bangalore has a lot of issues. Mumbai though definitely has a lot of issues. NCR, like that entire belt, like Delhi, Gurgaon, Noida, and all of those, they have their own challenges. Hyderabad has a lot of good PR. I don't think it is still in the big leagues yet, but it's still better than Kolkata, which is not a big, which is not a high bar, unfortunately. So if you're going to look at Indian cities, right, they're very unlivable in a lot of ways. If you go even to the basic cities of Southeast Asia, I'm not even talking about the West, which is North America or even Western Europe, right? I'm not even talking about that. I'm not talking about the oil-rich economies of the Middle East. I'm just saying basic cities जो है अगर आप देख रहे हो, even in Southeast Asia, those cities aren't exactly world class, but they're 10 times better than anything India has to offer, right? And now what I'm trying to say is I don't think Indian cities are ever going to improve. Why? Simply speaking, the first one is I wouldn't call most people are like, hey, oh, it's overpopulation. We just have way too many people. I don't think so. I don't think so. If you look at the Chinese cities, right? They are 10 times better than us in terms of just overall being managed, right? And here's the thing, right? They were similar to what our cities were 30 years ago, 40 years ago. They were even worse than our cities, just by the way. This is not what many people remember, right? Like Shanghai and all other cities like Hong Kong and all, they were just not, they were worse than Mumbai. Like how Mumbai was even back then. I'm not talking Mumbai of now. I was talking Mumbai of then. Shanghai and all were just horrible. Like the urban squalor that was there is just absolutely shocking. Up bus Google कीजिए, images कीजिए, Shanghai 1980, Shanghai today. दैट्स इट. जैसे जैसे हमारे लोग हरकतें करते हैं, जैसे हमारा इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है, वैसे का वैसा वहां पे था. इन 40 years they changed it, in 30 years they changed it, right? And so you start thinking like, okay, and then there are those cities like they didn't even exist. Okay, there are like areas like Shenzhen area वगैरह जो भी है वो, I'm pronouncing it incorrectly, I know that, but the one in China, those areas, like they were SEZs, they were literally special economic zones which they set up, and they succeeded with it. Like India too tried special economic zones, we couldn't succeed for obviously. Now I don't know what are the reasons for it, but there are many. But if you so an SEZ is nothing but, okay, create a new city, right? The problem with India is we are not even able to bloody create a new city. Okay, if you are going to look at like Navi Mumbai, which was literally created saying ki, hey, we have a Mumbai, but it has its own limits, and even if they are not being breached now, they will be breached soon in the future, which happened, right? So in the 1980s, they kind of envisioned Navi Mumbai. In 1990s, they built Navi Mumbai, and ever since then, it's been a flop. Until now, we have a new airport over there, and our chief minister, Mr. Devendra Fadnavis, he's currently in Davos in Switzerland, or Davos, I don't know how to pronounce it. So the point is that he's there in Switzerland, and he's saying that Navi Mumbai, and then there is a third Mumbai that's going to come up, and we are going to ensure that Mumbai doesn't lose out on good talent, because for once he admitted that Mumbai's real estate became so expensive, that many startups literally had to go to Bangalore and NCR. He admitted it, exact words, you can check it out. He's like, we are not going to let it happen again. We are going to, work on the real estate prices. And even if we cannot work on the real estate prices in Mumbai, we'll definitely create more options in Navi Mumbai and other, like they're calling it NAINA, Naina. Whatever they want to call it, doesn't matter, right? A city is much more than buildings, right? Otherwise, Navi Mumbai would have become a very big, functional city. even like, just 10, 15 years ago. Even now, it's a functional city. It just doesn't have enough jobs, right? So let me start off by saying why our cities will not likely improve. It's not overpopulation. There are other countries who had more population than us, or even more their population density is even more. Some of the cities, right, which are better than the cities that we have. The number one reason I believe Indian cities are never going to improve is the fact that they are not places to live, they are places of employment. Not just for you and me, like the educated class, but of course we are educated in the sense that we have degrees. Okay, let's just call it what it is. Like we are the degreed class. Not just because you have a degree doesn't mean you have education. I'm talking about white collar workers like you and me. We are the degreed class. Let's call it that. And Indian cities, the primary job of an Indian city is not to live, it is to provide employment. Think about it while I sip my tea. If you go to Europe and you go to a city, you're like, wow, people are living here. यहाँ पे जो रहते हैं उनकी क्या life होगी? Their lives are not perfect, but they are 100 times better than whatever the fuck we have going on right now. And I'm not saying it because I went to Europe. I even went to Australia, right? And I was like, डिट्टो, मतलब तुम ऑस्ट्रेलिया का जो सिडनी को अगर आप मतलब यूरोप में डाल दो, मुझे कोई डिफरेंस पता ही नहीं चलेगा. Right? I mean, except for the weather, probably. Um, Sydney is not that cold compared to most European cities. But if you see, they follow the same template, right? You go to parts of Vietnam, you go to parts of Indonesia, you even, oh my god, like Jakarta, right? Like Jakarta, and then you look at like even a Bali, which is not exactly a big place, right? The way they have maintained it. You look at Phuket, Pattaya, and they get so much to tourism, and these are people who are from outside, right? Still, they are able to manage things so much better than we do. We look at a city in such a way that every inch of it is supposed to feed everyone. Mumbai is not a city, it's a place of employment. That is the reality. The reality is, anytime someone thinks of Mumbai, they think of profit. They do not think of a place with its own history, its own current culture, its evolving social norms. They don't think of it that way, right? And because since the 50s and the 60s in India, there has been nothing but pure propaganda about Mumbai being that Sapno ki Nagariya and all of that, and it has been that, right? Like, my father came to Mumbai to work. I didn't want to. I had to, right? बाजू में ऐसा छोटे का बड़ा हुआ मैं, and झक मार के had to cross Vashi Bridge, and I live in Mumbai now. I pay like an enormous rent, and I work in Mumbai because Navi Mumbai is a failed employment generating city. See what I called it? An employment generating city. Like, there is no employment over there, so you leave. The moment a place is looked upon as an employment provider rather than a place to live is when the priorities change. They need to, because that's where our country is right now. We cannot provide jobs in our tier 2 towns and our tier 3 towns, and definitely not in our villages, which are, frankly speaking, an extremely inefficient setup in the 21st century. When you look at that, you can you blame someone who is like, oh, we call it, oh, they have encroached on the footpath. अरे वो encroachment करके वो सो नहीं रहा है, वो encroachment करके sandwich बेच रहा है. Hundreds, if not thousands of people are buying sandwich from him. Thousands of people are buying vada pav from उसके बाजू वाला. उसके बाजू में और 500 लोग आके वो मेवाड़ आइसक्रीम खा रहा है. क्या करोगे तुम? पान की टपरी थोड़ी मॉल में होगी. पान की टपरी वो फुटपाथ पे ही होगा. गल्ले में कौन देता है पान की टपरी? हाउ मेनी पीपल कैन अफोर्ड इट? एंड एटलीस्ट इन नवी मुंबई दीज रूल्स कैन बी एनफोर्स. ट्राई एंड डूइंग इट इन मुंबई. अरे वो सब्जी लगा रहे दादर स्टेशन पे, जस्ट बाहर, दादर के बाहर पूरा सब्जी 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 रहता है पूरा सुबह 4 बजे. क्यों नहीं होगा? और कहाँ होगा? वेयर एल्स आर दे गोइंग टू डू इट? आप बोलोगे अर्बन प्लानिंग करो. अरे कैसे? इधर फैमिली प्लानिंग नहीं होता है इस देश में, अर्बन प्लानिंग कहाँ करोगे तुम? I don't blame our government in that aspect. What I, of course, do, and by government, I don't mean BJP and Congress all. Please, no, 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 please, please. None of that nonsense, right? I'm talking anyone, doesn't matter who reaches the top of Mumbai or any other city, right, in India. Look at Bangalore. Bangalore का क्या हालत हुआ है पिछले 4-5 साल में. They have just finally they know what it means to really be in the big leagues. And now they're like, oh my god, there are people from outside coming. Oh my god, they're not speaking a language. Oh my god, यहाँ पे बहुत खड्डा है. अरे इधर का म्युनिसिपल वाला करप्ट है. ऐसा बोलते हैं वो लोग, हमको नहीं मालूम. But it is like the traffic is very bad. This city sucks. There is no city management. Oh my god, it's horrible. It's becoming unlivable. That's what they're saying about Bangalore currently, right? Why? Why are they saying that? It's because everyone woke up in 2020 and was like, anyone with a fucking degree woke up and like, मैं Bangalore में जाके काम करेगा. Most young people woke up and they were like, I'm gonna go and work in Bangalore. That is exactly what happened. And then there was a flood of people coming in and everyone was like, हाँ मैं यहाँ पे जाएगा, मेरा 4 लाख का स्टार्टिंग सैलरी, मैं 15 लाख करके आ जाएगा एक साल में उसको. Am I lying? Is that not what people did? And I'm not saying, oh, people are wrong. I'm saying everyone has the right to increase their salary, goddammit. I'm saying that Bangalore provided employment opportunities. And India is a country where your Bhopal is not giving you those many opportunities. Neither is Indore, nor is Nasik, nor is Nagpur, nor is Baroda, or any place like, definitely not Kolkata, unfortunately. They're like Haryana mein, like we should have, like Sonipat, Rohtak, and all these other places. Rajasthan, I think, has the highest number of unemployed people in this country. Somewhere around 30-40% unemployment in Rajasthan. Now, there may be nuances to that data, but then again, that's a huge number of young people being unemployed. South, I think, when I say South, I mean Telangana, I mean Karnataka, and of course Tamil Nadu. These are the places where you will see, okay, you know what, even the tier 2 cities are kind of improving. Another thing, if I think about, now that I say Tamil Nadu, if you look at Chennai, Chennai is not a tier 1 city. I'm sorry, I'm going to offend people. It's not a tier 1 city. I would consider Chennai to be a very strong tier 2 city that can become a tier 1 city in the future. But then again, if you talk to people from there, they're like, no, we don't want too many people. जैसा अच्छा, we like it. और लोग आएगा तो गर्दी हो जाएगा and खराब हो जाएगा. And do you blame them? Of course not. I don't blame locals who say that, because they have seen what happened to Mumbai, definitely, and they can clearly see in real time what's happening to Bangalore. Until and unless our governments, or governments, not government, they agree that, you know what, this we can't depend on four city centers driving the growth of this country. We just cannot. We need to diversify the employment opportunities, and by diversify it means literally create out of nowhere. We have to, वो सिर्फ आप सिर्फ एफडीआई डाल के, यार एफडीआई डाल के 1 बिलियन का एक शेयर को नहीं बना सकते. A city is much more than that. It is a matter of culture also. And culture doesn't mean clubbing at like 2 a.m. That is a part of it. That is a part of it. They are creating gift city in Gujarat. हलवा है क्या? कितना इन्वेस्टमेंट डाला उन लोगों ने? बन रही है क्या नई सिटी हमसे? नहीं हो रहा है. सो घूम फिर के आप करंट सिटी पे ही आओगे. Do you blame people? No. Gift City in Gujarat, just by the way, is giving alcohol permits. Like you can drink alcohol within Gift City, Ahmedabad. I think it's in Ahmedabad. Yeah. So I'm saying that they're trying very hard, but new cities are failing in India. We are just not able to build new cities. The only time new cities are built in India is when the locals are completely steamrolled by the government. And in a representative democracy, it is very difficult to do it. And by the time it's done, the city is created. It's not a good picture, right? So wherever local power is very strong, they will never be able to make a new city, right? Because people are like, we don't want to change, we don't want to become a city, because a city is owned by no one. That is the reality. There are powerful factions, no doubt about it, but no one party can stake claim to this is my city. I want to ask a question, like, New York kiska hai? Which group or community owns New York? There are parts of New York that are, predominantly Italian American. They are African American. Some parts are even Irish American. Some parts are, the old Protestant, Anglo-Saxon Protestant American. Some parts are even Dutch, by the way. Because, fun fact, you know what was the initial name of New York? It was New Amsterdam. It was established by the Dutch. So things change. But in India, we don't like change, right? So when you need a city to give up its inches, all of it that it has, into employment, where will you get the quality of life over there? How? Of course, and because so many people come in and you have to build housing which is unregulated. And the moment housing is unregulated, you can't bring it down after a point of time. They become a political voting bloc. That is the reality. It's been happening in Mumbai for the longest time. It's going to continue to happen in all the other cities that we have. I don't blame people who are moving into cities all the time, because what else are they going to do? What are we doing to make employment, to make people richer in the hinterland? We have 500 million plus farmers in India, or at least the people in the farming sector. Let me be more specific. That's a lot. And but that's a lot, not by me, by the way, like by average percentage of a population being in agriculture. I think India is probably the highest in the world for such a large country. Definitely one of the highest in the world, even by pure percentage, right? But even if you take countries which have more than like 10, 20 million people, I'm not saying 200 million also. There are like hardly like 10, 15 of them. I'm saying countries with more than like 20, 30, 40, 50 million people, India has the highest number of people in agriculture. We need reforms over there. I don't know what reforms, but if ऐसा पढ़ते तो रहता हूँ, मैं सुनते रहता हूँ, we need agriculture reforms. We need to improve the spending power of the rural population. Now, I'm not an economist. मुझे नहीं आता ये सब. That is why we vote people into power, right? Who we believe will work in our favor. So, coming to the third point, our politicians, they are not dependent on cities. They are dependent on the villages, which has the highest number of people, and or at least their allegiance is. I know so many people who work in Mumbai, but they go back to vote in the villages. So many of them, and I mean they're exercising their democratic right, right? Fantastic. The politicians know this. They are like, I don't need to do much about the cities. It's the villages that matter to me. That's what it is. That is exactly what it is. The moment we get more cities, the moment we get more urbanization, is when we will get some political power, and it is only then that we can expect some change happening. And that's not happening for another 40, 50 years. And by that time, I think best case scenario is that we will be very old. Let's just put it that way. And development does not mean only highways, right? It also means public transport, right? So I'll tell you the fourth point why even our public transport won't really get to the standard that it needs to get to, right? Public transport, if we try to even air condition all our trains, you will see so many people saying, no, you cannot do that. Please don't do that. We don't want AC trains because they're expensive. Mumbai local is one of the highest subsidized local trains in the whole world. And it definitely runs in losses, if I'm not wrong. It definitely runs in losses. The per kilometer charge is 0.15 paise or something, which is one of the cheapest in the entire world. Mind you, literally cheapest in the entire world, because everyone knows this. It's an open secret that Mumbai locals are there just as a free public service, more or less. A virtually free public service कि ये आपका है, कर लो इस पे ट्रैवल. हाउ मेनी टिकटलेस ट्रैवलर्स आर देयर? जैसे एयरपोर्ट पे होता है या मूवी थिएटर के बाहर होता है, आप लगा के दिखाओ वो जो बैरियर्स होते हैं. मेट्रो में भी होता है ना, आप लगा के दिखाओ वो बैरियर कि आप एंट्री तभी प्लेटफॉर्म पे कर सकते हो जब आपके पास टिकट हो. दंगे हो जाएंगे. You will not be able to implement it. We will never be able to implement it. It's purely because, once again, it's about employment. You need people, you need to, because there are so many people, and because we are not exactly a rich country, we have to ensure that such services are free or highly subsidized. And not no and see, the moment something is either free or highly subsidized, they are not going to upgrade it. They're like, bhai chalne do, kya jata hai. Thousands of people die every day, every year, sorry, in Mumbai locals. Thousands. I'm not lying. Like, check up the latest number. I'll probably, put it in, like, how many people die every year. It's more than two a day, that I can assure you. These locals are dangerous. I've traveled in them. ट्रेन से गिरे हो, मैं गिरा हूँ. ऑलमोस्ट रुक गया था ट्रेन, मेरी गलती थी. बट मैं गिरा हूँ. 2-3 बार गिरा हूँ मैं ट्रेन से. तीनों बार प्लेटफॉर्म पे गिरा हूँ. इट्स वेरी स्कैरी. आई वाज यंग, आई वाज स्टूपिड. But at least one out of those three times, it was not my fault. That's the thing. You cannot even get a train that closes in Mumbai locals, because how will people get in? People will never be able to go home until 11 p.m. What kind of a life is that? People will be standing on the platform for 2 hours. There will be such horrible situations on the platform. I don't even want to talk about them. So our cities, which face problems of public transport, encroachment on footpaths that they're not walkable, things like, oh, the air quality is so bad, they're never going to improve. They're never going to improve until people are incentivized to stay where they are. And we are the most populated country in the world. उनको आना ही पड़ेगा city में काम करने. The moment a government says we are taking out the footpaths, okay, we are clearing out all the encroachment on the footpath, which includes people living on footpaths also in Mumbai, just by the way. Literally, log rehte hai footpath pe. I'm not talking about the homeless. There are parts, like, of Mumbai, I won't name them, I know where they are. Like, literally, आप स्टेशन के बाहर जाओ, एक right turn लो, and that entire footpath is nothing but like homes. Like homes, not like literally लोगों के घर है वहाँ पे, छोटे से बड़े हुए लोग. घर. And they're not झोपड़पट्टी, they're literally, they have built on it like concrete का, या फिर concrete या दूसरा कुछ तो like brick का उन्होंने तो बना के रखा है. People live there. How are you going to remove them? It's impossible. It's impossible. I mean, those people are like, we've been living here for 15 years, 20 years. We contribute to the city's economy. We pay taxes, at least indirect taxes. What are you doing? You cannot remove them. You cannot remove, because if you remove them, you have to give them a place to live. Displacement ka bhi, you have to reinstate them, right? Where are you going to reinstate them? You're going to reinstate them outside the city. They'll be like, you're screwing with our income again, because they're like, we work over here. You see? So it's all tied to income and people not being able to work in those areas. My friend, she has someone who works in the house. And I asked that lady, where do you live? And she's like, Nala Sopara. It takes 1.5 hours for that lady to come to my friend's place and work and go back every day. 1.5 hours one way. It's incredible. That lady deserves to have a job in Nala Sopara, man. But then again, because she's not degreed, I won't say educated, degreed. She has to do this. And even people like me who are degreed, I had to travel 1 hour 45 minutes one way for years, man. Yeah, that's when I was living in Navi Mumbai. Then वो हो गया ना, मतलब घूम फिर के I had to come to Mumbai, pay a rent now. It's all about how much you earn in our country, and in like what opportunities you have in our cities. That's what it is. I mean, you'll be like, pollution हो रहा है. क्यों नहीं होगा? 2 रुपए का इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर नहीं है यहाँ पे. बनेगा तो और 5 साल लगेगा वो बनने को. आपका मेट्रो बन रहा है, ब्रिज बन रहा है, हाईवे बन रहा है, नए घर का रीडेवलपमेंट हो रहा है, बिल्डिंग का. होगा ना, तो उसी में तो होगा ना भाई. और नहीं तो कैसे होगा? वो पोल्यूशन तो होगा ही, बिकॉज नो वंस फॉलोइंग नॉर्म्स. व्हाई द फक विल दे फॉलो द नॉर्म्स? हु इज इवन एनफोर्सिंग इट? You get me? That is the reality of our cities. That is the reality of our cities. Now, why you'll be like, oh, why are they not enforcing the norms? As I said, there is no incentive. They know their votes are not in the cities, their votes are in the villages. So until our numbers don't increase, until we don't have permanent city dwellers, until we don't have an equitable distribution between urban and rural voting blocks, I would say, India's cities will not improve. That is the reality. That is the reality. And as I said, by the time it happens, it will be too late, at least for us. So maybe our children will have better Indian cities. That's the hope, but I won't hold my breath. You know, I hope this would have been a much more optimistic video, but this is what I really feel. Right? This was Paul Kibol. Let me know what you think. Maybe I missed out on something. And like, comment, subscribe. Thank you.